links to all the different platforms and apps that we're going to be talking about today. That will be available on our webpage under our workshops and classes link, probably later today or tomorrow. So as I mentioned, the platforms that we're going to be talking about today are ones that we've heard from the community about, that they're using with their office or at work with the organizations that they're working with. So we're going to talk about Zoom, Google Meet, which on Gmail would be Google Hangouts, Microsoft Teams, Skype, and then for those smaller interactions or one-on-one interactions, FaceTime and Duo. Zoom seems to be one of the most popular that folks are using for online meetings. There is a basic free plan for Zoom. Obviously, it is a video conferencing platform that allows for real-time messaging. You can chat back and forth. And of course, we can share our screens and share content as well. The basic free plan includes up to 100 people in a meeting, which is huge. That's awesome. But it limits you to 40 minutes for a meeting, for those group meetings. Now, one-on-one Zoom meetings, it's an unlimited number. It also does not matter how many meetings that you have a month. Zoom does have a closed caption option in its settings. So the host can turn on the closed captions for a particular meeting. And you all, if you have a personal Zoom account, can go into your settings and make sure that closed caption is activated for any meeting where it's available. The host has to either assign a participant to type everything or bring in a third-party captioner like the CART service. There are ways, if no one's available to caption, there are ways to use AI captions and have that speech-to-text option by sharing your screen. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And of course, really important, practice using these before you actually need to use them during a meeting. Google Meet has been really interesting as well. This is part of the G Suite plan that is available to businesses and organizations. If you have Gmail for your personal email, this would be the equivalent to Hangouts. It's just got some more features. Again, you've got the video conferencing and chat. You can share screens, and it has a built-in automatic captions, so that voice recognition captions can be used for your meetings. This is part of the Google Cloud that is available for businesses. So it's got Gmail and a bunch of other Google apps. It's $6 a month per user per month, but also has a 14-day trial so that you can try it out and see if it's actually going to work for your particular situation. A lot of groups are using Microsoft Teams, particularly government offices. You've got that sharing of video, sharing of content, and then your real-time messaging. It does not currently have AI captions built in. It is a preview feature currently. However, let me back up. It has a preview feature that uses AI captions, but that is not available for the government level clouds. It is currently available for businesses, not government. So hopefully we will see that roll out to the broader Microsoft Teams in the future. Another thing that is helpful with Microsoft Teams is that you can blur your background. So if you are at home and the only place you have to set up your computer has all kinds of stuff behind you, you can blur the background so that it focuses just on you. A couple of other programs like Zoom, you can choose an artificial background, but that doesn't always work well if you yourself are a signer, because it can get a little, your hands can disappear and odd things can happen. So be familiar with what the options are before you decide to choose that for your online meetings. Microsoft Teams is $5 per user per month, and that is an annual fee that you pay. However, if you are being invited to a meeting, say you need to join a meeting at a government office online, they can send you an invitation and you can join that Microsoft Teams meeting at no charge to you as the user. Skype is another one that we've seen for years. It's a video conferencing, content sharing, real-time messaging. It does have a captioning feature built in and provides, again, those AI captions, and actually can even do some translation from one language to another, which is interesting. For those Skype calls, or rather Skype online meetings, you can have up to 49 participants. You can also blur that background again. And Skype to Skype calls are free. Now for some of those smaller calls where there might just be a couple of you, Google Duo and FaceTime can be really helpful. It gives you that video call so you're able to see each other. Google Duo is also available both for Android phones and iPhones, which is nice because you can go across platforms. So let's talk a little bit about captioning. CART, which is the Communication Access Real-Time Translation, is always going to give you the best captions. They're going to be the more accurate captions, and of course, they require a skilled captioner. So you would be hiring a caption service, like today we have Beverly. But there are many different captioners out there, and we can include resources on where to find them. You want to talk with your captioner about which platforms they're experienced with, and they can help you work out how to get those captions included in your online meetings. Of course, the other option is they can send you a link like our stream text link, and you can open up the captions on a separate device, whether that's your tablet or a second computer screen or your smartphone, so that you can have your meeting and then your captions. The other option is to use the automatic captions, those artificial intelligence or machine voice recognition captions. Obviously, they're not going to be as accurate. Different people have different ways of speaking, have different accents. Their microphone might not be very good. There's all these aspects that can impact that machine translation. It is slowly getting better. So it is an option that you should consider, and generally is going to cost less. It can be a quick substitute for those short meetings where you may not be able to get live captions. You can get those captions on a mobile device through an app, like on your smartphone or tablet. And of course, there are desktop options as well. If you've ever seen the auto captions on YouTube, that is a form of those machine voice recognition captions. So let's talk about some of those apps that you can use when you just can't get live captions. We've got Google Live Transcribe, Ava, Otter, Transcribed Live, and then a browser-based one called webcaptioner.com. And you have choices on how to use these. You can use it on your phone, your tablet, your computer. You obviously do need to have an internet connection of some sort. So Wi-Fi, Ethernet, cellular connection. And then these can be used almost anywhere. As long as you've got that online connection, you can use it at home, use it at work, when you're out at the store, for those brief interactions at a doctor's office. And again, practice before you need to use it. So here's an example. We've got someone using their cell phone to caption the video call that they're on. So after they've connected the video call, they set their phone right next to the computer where they can see it, and they turn up the volume on the computer so that the phone will pick it up. Every now and then we find those programs that just don't have captions on TV or on your streaming service. Try out some of these captioning apps and see what you think. You'll need to put your phone closer to the TV so it can pick up the sound, turn up the volume on the TV, and let the app pick up the captions for you. And today, of course, the really important thing is social distancing. People are staying 6 feet apart. They're wearing masks when they have to go out. And there are not many masks available that have the little window for lip reading. This is where another situation where those apps can come in handy. So you can hold your phone out, activate the app, and ask the person that is talking to you to speak at a good slow pace and speak clearly. Google Live Transcribe is one of the apps that folks are using. It is powered by Google's speech recognition technology, so it's got a nice flow. The words pop up as you are speaking. If you've got a Wi-Fi connection or a cellular connection, you're good to go. This app was actually developed in partnership with Gallaudet University to make sure that it was something that would be useful for folks. The downside of this app is that it's only available for Android devices. But it is one of the free apps that are out there. Ava is another app that's really helpful for folks. It actually was made for kind of group situations. With the Ava app, you can invite people to join your conversation, and their cell phones pick up their voice, which will then identify them so you can see who is speaking. This is helpful again in these social distancing situations We actually found in testing this app, you don't even have to be in the same room. You can chat from other rooms with each other. Ava offers up to 5 hours free per month. And then if you want, you can go ahead and subscribe to Ava, either at $14.99 per month per host, or you can pay it up front at $180 a year. Otter is another app that folks are finding very helpful, particularly with meetings. It is free up to 600 minutes per month, and then you can also get paid subscriptions. Ava and Otter both work on Android and Apple devices. Otter can also be used on a desktop computer, but it is one of the subscription ones as well, either at $8.33 a month or $100 a year. One of the Apple only or iOS only device apps rather is Transcribe Live. The first 15 minutes are free, and after that you can either pay per hour or you can do a yearly subscription. Web Captioner is a browser-based automatic captioning. It does require that you use the Chrome browser, but it's nice because you can open that up on your tablet, on your smartphone, on a separate screen, if you're one of those folks that works with 2 computer screens, and have your captions with your online meeting. There's no charge for webcaptioner.com, but you can donate to help keep it free for everybody. Another one that I realized this morning that we forgot is a service provided by the Virginia Relay. It's called Remote Conference Captioning. And we'll include this in our resource list when we post it to our website. Remote Conference Captioning was developed for conference calls, not necessarily the video conference calls, but was developed for traditional conference calls, so that you and the captioner can both call into the meeting, and then you can log on to a website to see the captions. And that's provided at no cost through Virginia Relay. And we understand that some folks are using that with the online video meeting platform. What you'll need to do is provide the RCC, Remote Conference Captioning Service, the phone number for the Zoom meeting that you, or whichever meeting you want to go into. But we'll include that information on our resource list, since it totally blanked my mind to include it here. For those short, very brief interactions, you can use a voice recognition app. 2 of the ones that we found are Cardzilla and Pages. Both are free apps. What they let you do is when you've encountered someone and you're having trouble understanding them, you activate the app and hit the microphone button so that they speak into your microphone and it will print it out for you. And a couple of other useful apps that we wanted to include are buzz cards. This is provided by Sorensen Video Relay. These are pre-typed cards, so you can, if you know, those interactions that you have every day, like going to the coffee shop, grabbing the taxi every day, you can type that information into these buzz cards and save them on your phone. That way, when you go up to the counter at the coffee shop, you just show them, hey, large coffee, cream, sugar, please. And the other one that we found was Genie. This is a live interpreting app that you pay $1 a minute, but it includes ASL interpreting. So for those brief conversations where you're struggling to understand and you need a sign language interpreter, you can use this app on your smartphone to connect with a live interpreter to get that information across. Okay, wow. We kind of went through things. It probably took us about the same amount of time as our practice. So now we wanted to open up for questions from you all. And so we do ask that you type your questions into the chat, and we will address those as we can. If we're not able to cover them, if we need to do some more research, or if you prefer not to ask them live, you can send us an email to info@nvrc.org, and we can answer them later on for you or research them and get back to you. Okay. Let's take a look over at the chat window here. Great. Hey, we do have some folks that use the remote conference captioning with Zoom meetings, and they love it. Yay. That's awesome.
I see one about the host captions option. The ones that we have now are open caption. They're not adjustable by the participants, but that's why we also supply the stream text link so that you could see the full text on another device and adjust the size of the text.
But you are correct that the host must make the captioning available for that particular meeting before folks can make those adjustments.
Correct. Is live transcribed by Google to be available on iPhone users? Not really. Google does this for their identity and they've developed it, but the Transcribed Live uses the same technology, but it's a you pay as you go type captioning.
And remember, we are recording this webinar, so it will be posted on our website later, and you'll be able to find it under the workshops and classes link, along with the resource page that we're going to be posting there.
We will have almost all the links that we referred to in the apps or applications, and some of the information pages about each application. We will have it recorded and you'll be able to review the session again. I guess.
Okay, the Sorensen buzz cards that we put up, that actually is separate from the video phone app that Sorensen provides. So it is a separate app that you can download to your cell phone.
We will post the PowerPoint to the website as a separate document.
There was another question that I saw where, now I just got to find it again. Okay, so Lita asked about an hour-long video that they would love to have captions for. So what would be the best way to get the captions? This is where trying one of those voice-to-text apps that we talked about, so Google Live Transcribe, Ava, Otter, try using one of those apps.
Or the
It's
web
a huge
captioner,
program.
or the
Or
web captioner on a browser, a computer browser, because then you can make the text real large.
obviously, this is just a small sampling of the kinds of technologies that are out there. If you all have heard about something that you really like, please send us an email and let us know so that we can improve our resource list to share with others.
Well, yes, today's captioning was provided by our CART captioner, Beverly.
Yep. So we have a live captioner listening in who is typing word for word what we are saying.
And the product that we're using to overlay the captions is, what is it?
Streamcast.
Yeah, Streamcast. It's
We're actually providing open captions.
right. Oh, sorry. Yes.
And of course, the other option to this, Beverly gave us a stream text link that you can put in a web browser and open up the full page of the captions.
There's one asking about why Teams isn't used by, allowed by the government clouds. I think a lot of that is, one, it's new. Two, security for government agencies is a requirement, and that there might be an issue technically of why the captions or would not be, because it has to go out to a computer and then come back to be captioned. And they might not like the idea of an outside organization's computer listening into a conversation. There's one there about webcaptioner.com on an iPhone. I'm not sure why it won't work on an iPhone. I would hope that it might be because it's a phone by itself. I think it mostly works only in web browsers on Mac or Windows. So yes, you're correct. It didn't work for me either.
Someone asked about how Ava compares to an app like InnoCaption. So InnoCaption is an app you can put on your phone to have captioned telephone calls. That's actually separate from what we're talking about today. Ava is a chat app, and so it is for those voice-to-text communications where you've got one-on-one person in front of you or some distance from you, or a group of people, say, around a table. So the purposes of Ava and InnoCaption are actually separate.
Do you want to take the one on open versus closed to explain the difference?
Sure thing. So when you set up these meetings, open captioned means everybody sees the same thing on the screen. So today we have a box open on our presentation screen, so everybody can see the captions as they're being typed. Say you had a Zoom meeting where you decided to use closed caption. Once the host gets everything set up and linked, the user who is watching the Zoom meeting can decide to see those captions or not. And there would actually be a little box that me, as a viewer of the meeting, can click on and activate the captions. So I'm the only one seeing them on my screen, and the rest of the people in the Zoom meeting cannot see it.
So Ava would not be used for phone calls. It would be used in group conversations, but they can be at pretty large distances.
Correct. Ava uses your phone to interpret what people are saying around you, as opposed to InnoCaption or one of the other caption phone apps, which is physically for phone calls. A regular Zoom user actually is giving us some information about Zoom. They say that Zoom is doing a beta testing of AI captioning now. That's good to hear. They hear it's better than Google Meet's automatic captioning. Of course, automatic captioning is awesome. It's a great option when you can't get the live captioning. But if you need really accurate captions, you're going to need a live captioner. Thank you for that.
At the present time, the webinar, which is what we're doing, this is a Zoom webinar. We control who's visible on screen, and that's to have it so we present more. In a normal Zoom meeting, you would have the ability to see other participants and have conversation as a group. So that's a big difference between Zoom webinars and Zoom meetings. So I think our questions are slowing down. We'll give it a few more minutes here.
The host can pin the interpreter, but the individual viewers can also decide to pin the interpreter.
But in the webinar, the interpreter has come in as a panelist. And in that situation, we do have control over the visibility of the interpreter's window. So you're not going to be able to pin or unpin the interpreter. So in a normal meeting, though, where you do have many participants, you want to pin the interpreter so they always are visible on screen.
And that control for pinning the interpreter, if you hover over their little video, you'll see 3 dots. And if you click on those 3 dots, it'll give you options, and one of those is pin that video.
We're going back to a question about the webinar. Yes, the interpreter is a panelist and not a co-host.
Nancy was asking if we will be able to find this session later. Yes, we are going to be posting the webinar itself, the PowerPoint, and a resource page on our website. And you'll be able to find it under the workshops and classes link on our website later on.
YouTube is a streaming platform, and depending on how people present on it, it's a delivery provider. It's an open type link that allows you to watch a webinar. Usually it's one direction. It's from the presentation out. So YouTube is a great service. Usually as an organization you can get it free, and it has live streaming. It is a great service for churches, organizations like NVRC, and many others. All right. Any more questions? Well, thank you. I think this has gone pretty smoothly for our first webinar. We hope to do others soon, and maybe we'll pick some new topics. If you have any ideas, please send it to info@nvrc.org.
This has been awesome. Thank you all for learning with us. And as Bruce said, you know, there's a lot of technology out there, so we've got more topics that'll be coming up. If there's something you specifically want to know about, send us an email and we'll research it and get back to you and maybe even make a new webinar out of it. Thank you all so much for coming today. Thank you to our wonderful captioner and interpreter. You all give us access and we love you for that. So thank you all, and you all have a great week.
Oops.